we got a future queen of comedy. Move out the way, Monique. What's the other three names? Was this like three? Yeah, it's four.
I don't want no
drama. Monique letting people have it right now, man. Damn. Anyway, I got Keysha E. Right, E is short for Edwards.
Ooh, my whole government. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? The first California native on the show.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Rewind. Cut. California native.
No,
I'm offended.
You've been there for a while,
no,
so
no,
I forgot.
People be like, "How long you been in California?" Oh, you from here? No, no, I'm from Detroit. I'm always gonna be from Detroit.
Which side? The east side or the west side?
East side.
You remember we had like a debate about which side was the worst side?
You know what's crazy? I don't get this debate. And I had somebody on my podcast, and I caught myself because I'm growing.
Yep.
And she said something about the east side, and it's like, you don't even know who your daddy. Like you. West side people talk about the east side, and it's like, you grew up in the hood, you don't know who your daddy is, you barely made it out of high school. Like, I don't understand. Make it make sense. The east side, west side thing is so stupid to me. It's so, it's all Detroit. You got a couple good sides on each side, good parts, and nowadays...
It's just used to divide us, right? It's used to divide us.
Yeah, but my thing is, it's this unrealistic, it's this, like... mental illness that West Siders seem to have of like, oh, I'm from this good side, it's the best side, and it's like, ma'am, I'm locking my doors when I go drop you off. What do you mean? Okay.
So born and raised in Detroit, right? You grew up on it was off of Gunston. Did I pronounce that right? I remember it was like a police station over there somewhere. Like
I think that's the 9th precinct. It's a little further up, but yeah.
Gunston and Gratiot, right? Okay. Crazy stories. I used to live right there, but I was off of Wilfred in Gunston. So I don't know if that street.
The name is familiar. I just can't picture exactly where it was from my block.
It was a few blocks away from Gratiot, so it was probably closer. Okay. You were further down, right?
Yeah, I was the other. Like if the police station was here, I was the other way.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up over there. You lived in obviously a 2-parent household, right? Because your dad that's all I see is pictures of him. You know, whenever you go to Hawaii, he's with you. So he was very active in your life. You grew up in a 2-parent household, right?
Yes.
Okay. You and who else?
My siblings. You said you and who else?
Your siblings?
My siblings.
How many? How many siblings?
I have 3 siblings. 2 brothers, 1 sister.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, all right, Keysha lives in California. She's killing the scene out there right now, and she's back here just to visit family. We don't even have to go into the specifics of that because I don't want to get all in her business. But have you visited your brothers since you've been here? You've seen everybody so far?
I've seen everybody. My little brother is in New York, so
he's in New York. Right, he's he trains little kids to play basketball.
Yeah,
right?
he plays for a semi-pro team in upstate New York, and then he has his own AAU team.
So he has his own business where he trains kids, as well as playing semi-pro.
Yeah.
In New York.
Yeah.
God.
So I didn't see him because he's not here. But I came for my nephew's graduation.
Okay, nephew graduate. Where is he graduating from?
From high school.
High school. Okay.
All right, so I got a chance to see. I've seen pretty much everybody-ish.
Okay. Me and Keysha got beef, man. I mean, listen.
I was a little late, y'all, but this energy I'm getting right now is like, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Not because she was late. She gave us time to set up. We wasn't even done setting up all the cameras. Bridget is my crew today. My wife is behind the scenes. We're just appreciative.
Because it's always a strong, black, amazing woman behind every black man. All right, let's give it up for Bridget. I just want to make sure she
behind to the side. You're right, man. Give it up for Bridget. But yeah, no, Keysha was gracious enough to bless her. She's a celebrity, right? Would you agree, Bridget? I'm talking to Bridget. Bridget is nodding her head.
Bridget off camera, like who?
Bridget knows that Keysha is a celebrity. We are so happy to have her here, and we beefing. And it's probably because I graduated from Cash. She graduated from King. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just saying, right? And then the thing that we do have in common is that we both went to college for engineering, right? Both went to college for engineering. What made you choose to go to school for that? Actually, what discipline did you go to school for?
I forgot you're a technician.
Yeah. Which type of engineering did you do in college, or did you major in?
Computer engineering.
Computer engineering, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was at Kettering University.
Kettering.
Got you. Okay, and then after that, you actually worked as an engineer in the city for a company, right? Okay, and then all of a sudden, you was like, nah?
Yeah, I was laying in bed one day. I always knew I wanted to do something with computers when I was a kid because I loved computers. I remember I asked my parents for a computer for, I don't even think it was Christmas. I think it was just a regular day. And I was probably like 7 or 8 maybe. And so this was before people really had like home computers. And I was like, okay. And I would do a lot of like little graphic designs, and I was like trying to figure everything out about it. So I knew I wanted to do something. And at the time I played video games heavy.
Video games.
So I was like,
okay,
I want to I want to create video games. And then it kept changing as time went on, but I knew I wanted to do something, which is why I went to Martin Luther King Jr. Senior High School, the best high school in the city, because they had MSAT, which is Math, Science, and Applied Technology. And so that program, we took a lot of accelerated classes that a lot of high schools weren't taking. And so I always knew I wanted to do something in that field, and kind of started to narrow it down like 12th grade, really freshman year, I would say. But then I was laying in bed one day. I was working in my field, and I remember I went for the interview. First of all, they thought I was there to interview for the receptionist position.
What?
No shade to any receptionist, but I was like,
Nah, because it's not that many women that occupy that space. So yeah.
Which I had to take my name off my resume. That was after I only used my first initial.
So you couldn't use Keysha on your resume. I'm talking about KEYSHA. Yeah, right. No. Because of course people can discriminate based on that.
Yeah,
right?
and even though I went to Kettering University, which if people know that's a really great engineering school, it didn't matter. It was like, who? So I started going by LR Edwards.
LR?
My middle name, my first initial, middle initial last name.
I got you. Okay.
And so when I interviewed, I remember he was like, the CIO, he was like, number of hours required to speak per week or to talk per week. And it was like, maybe 2, I want to say. And I was like, I'm an extroverted introvert. And so I started working in my field, and I realized like, I just love learning. Like I loved learning this, but I just wasn't very happy. And it was like, I was laying in bed one day, and I was like, okay, I got a nice place. I got a nice little car. Cool. I was 24, I think at the time.
Young, black, single, engineering female, making money, thriving.
I love how David just assumed I was single. Maybe at that point in time I had to love somebody, Yeah, maybe that could have been the case. Single. Yeah, and I just remember being like, yo, I'm 24. I'm not doing this for the rest of my life. And I was laying in bed, and I was just like, this ain't it. And I always wanted to act. When I was a kid, I remember I did a play. And my parents, of course, like most black parents, was like, what? Girl, sit down somewhere. You know what I mean? You better go to school. Act the fool. That's what you do. Like,
and how old were you when you did
I was a kid. I was E for egg. That's how little I was.
Wow.
Like I didn't even have no real lines. I think I was in the 2nd grade.
Yeah.
Me and Carla got into a fight on the stage.
Carla. Okay. She went to University of Michigan with me. Yeah.
One of his friends who's been my friend since 2nd grade. We got into a fight on stage because I don't remember. To this day, I don't remember what she was. But in the moment, it was huge.
But y'all wasn't friends before that fight, right?
We were friends.
Oh, okay.
But I got E for egg, and she got like, I don't remember, but let's just say it was like dragon fruit. You know what I mean? Let's say it was just something a little more than an egg. Yeah. And I wasn't feeling that. You know what I mean? I had been trying to trade with her, and I don't know if it was based on last name. I don't remember what it was that she got, but we got into a bit of a little brawl on stage. And because I was passionate about the art.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you can't say who. It don't matter who won, right? I mean, it's little kids. And,
I don't know if anybody won. I think it was like pulling ponytails and, you know what I mean? It wasn't like a full-on,
No, shout out to Carla. Yeah. Okay, so at that point, you expressed an interest in wanting to do probably, acting or performing or entertaining for a living at that age, right? Yeah. And your parents was like, no.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I got you.
I'm sorry. You want to do it?
Yeah.
You want to act, girl. You better act like you want to do that homework. You better act like. And then I always excelled in school, so that was another thing that was kind of like, no.
Why would you want to do this when you're good? I got you. Okay. So then, 24 years old, you had this epiphany, this awakening, and you like, nope. I'm interested in this, but this ain't nothing that necessarily fulfills me, and I want to act.
Yeah.
So then you tell your family, right, that I want to act. I want to move to LA. How do they respond to this?
It's so funny. Shameless plug. Watch my series, Keys to the City. It'll be out soon. Because I kind of put in there how the reaction was. So My mom, and to this day, from time to time, it'll come out because my parents paid for me to go to college too. So that's the thing.
Oh, that's
also,
you
right?
didn't get a scholarship or nothing? Like, well, it's Kettering, right? So it's
Well, because for undergrad originally I was supposed to. That's a whole nother story. I was supposed to go to Tennessee State because I used to swim when I first started, and it was whatever. I got into a car accident, wasn't gonna go there, whatever.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that comes up from time to time because they paid out of pocket for me to go to school. So it's like,
yeah.
Okay, you want to do what?
Wow.
You want to go where?
Wait, so you didn't come out on you didn't come out on any college loans. See, that's the benefits of a 2-parent household, y'all. That's the benefit right there. Anyway, keep going. So
my mama was not here for it by no means because one, this is silly. You want to act. 2, you have a degree that we paid for.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not hearing this by no means. My dad is more like, I support you. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
But okay. Are you sure? Who do you know in LA? And I'm like, I mean, Snoop is in LA. Like, who else do I need to know? Like,
damn. So part of the reason why he didn't understand it was it because it came out of nowhere? It was like left field for him?
I think it was just my parents' mindset is like, you go to school, you get an education, you get a degree, you get a good job, you start a family. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want to go out here and pursue this thing that. My mom thing was always like, you know how many people don't make it? And I'm like, well, you know how many people who go to school for law school and can't pass the bar, or go to school for med school, and you know what I mean? They never. Yeah. So for them, yeah, it was that. Then part of it was they didn't want to see me move away, obviously. Absolutely. So it's like I don't want to seem negative about your dream, but I also don't want to see my baby girl move to California, and we know nobody in California. And
the other thing is that they couldn't see what you could see at that time, right?
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. It took until like I started booking some things. And even then, when there was in between time, because you're not always working 24/7, it's still moments where mama like, you want to just come back home? Yeah. Maybe you should just stop. Like, what you working on right now? Nothing, mom. Then you probably should just come home.
Dang,
like, no.
Yeah. She kept kind of throwing that option out there. Like, you always got a place back here. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was not like absolutely. Oh my God. Even with some of my aunts and uncles, I had an uncle who came to a comedy show out there. He was there for work with his he was the vice president of Ford Motor Company, and they sponsor or partly sponsor the Image Awards. So they would be out there, him and his whole all of his staff, whatever. And I had a comedy show, and he came out, and he was nervous because like this girl talking about she doing comedy, and and I had been trying to do a comedy show here at the what's the theater? Not Fox. What's the one? I feel like it's smaller than Fox, but it's
not too far from here. Oh, Garden Theater. Oh, it could be the Garden Theater.
It's downtown. And one of his assistant was in LA for work, and we were talking. He was like, "Yo, you can get them to sponsor it, blah blah blah. Just write this up, whatever." And my uncle was kind of like, "Eh." And then he came to the show with all his staff, which he was kind of nervous, like, I don't know if this girl gonna be funny. And I killed it. And he was like, let's talk about the sponsorship. Now it was like, okay, I get it because I can see it now. But before it was just like, this is silly to me. This girl want to do what?
Wow. Okay, so you get to LA, right? So what's the first thing on the agenda? Is it to get an agent? Is it to, go get, what is it? What's that magazine that people used to look in or whatever? Something West. Backstage West, right? Oh, yeah. Because somebody told me to look at Backstage West when I was out there and just go on auditions that way. What was the first thing that you did once you landed? What was your first priority, I guess? Yeah.
The first thing I did was actually get into classes because I didn't know anybody out there. So once it was set, like I'm moving, because I had my ticket. My dad was like, why does it say one way? And I'm like, because that's what you do when you. Why would I need to? What other way do I need?
I told you. Yeah.
So then, friends and people started trying to connect me with people. So
you knew people out there already. You had a tribe out there already. No,
I knew nobody.
Wow. Okay.
I found out one of my former classmates. She actually left King in 9th grade. We were locker partners. I hadn't talked to her in years. I think here and there we kind of bumped to each other. She was in LA. I found that out through another girl I went to high school with. Carla, I went to LA to visit maybe 2 years before that. One of her friends from Michigan, he lived there. I don't really know him. He's her friend though, but I don't know nobody. So this is as close as it can get. And then my friends Tony and Kayla that I went to college with. Kayla's best friend, Antoinetta, was in LA. She's a producer, and at the time she's working for BET. And I met her at Kayla's bridal shower and then at the wedding. So I don't really know her, at the time. But we spoke, to each other, whatever. And so when Kayla knew that I was moving to LA, she was like, well, let me plug you to Net. So I talked to her a few times. she's really great friends with Lance Gross, who had just basically got put on from Tasha Smith acting workshop.
Gotcha.
Tyler Perry came in there, saw him. So she was telling me about T-Saw.
Wait, and that's how Lance Gross got the Tyler Perry gig on? Yeah. I forgot what the show is called, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, he was just in class one day.
Yeah.
I don't even think he put up a scene. I think he did an exercise that day, but it was like this exercise is called like the grave exercise to dig out like this emotional thing, like you picturing somebody you love, like your parent or whatever, in the grave. And from my understanding, I wasn't there. Obviously, I wasn't there yet, but I don't even think he did a scene that day. I think he did an exercise. But it was apparently that good. And Tyler Perry was in class. Sometimes he would pop in, just be in the back. You don't even know he there. And boom, that happened.
Yeah, that's like a requirement on the Tyler Perry show. All the guys look good, great-looking guys, you know. I won't say anything about the women because I might get canceled. But anyway, so you...
You know, I have nothing bad to say about Tyler Perry.
The women are beautiful too. No, Tyler Perry.
I got a residual check coming in 3 weeks.
I was talking to somebody and they was asking me like, hey, who do you admire most in Hollywood? And I said Tyler Perry. I remember this one speech he had, and we about to get back to your story, but this one speech where he talked about building your own table as opposed to asking for a seat at the table. And I respect the shit out of that. And he moves quietly. Like nobody knew what he was doing in Atlanta with that studio.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden he had this grand event with all these celebrities, and I'm like, where the hell did this come from? But it just kind of goes to show when you move silently like that, you have less people trying to oppose you or trying to less forces trying to come against you. And I think there's power in being able to move silently. So give a huge shout out and clap to Tyler Perry. I really admire him, man. So anyway, you joined Tasha Smith's class.
Yes. So
but you kind of have to be on like it's not easy to join that class, right? Because it was probably a long waiting list to get in it, right?
No, at the time it wasn't. So it was 3 different classes. It was like beginner, intermediate, and advanced.
I got you. Okay.
And it was on different days. And I can't remember if you had the audition for it. I got placed in the intermediate class. I can't remember if it was an audition or if it was based on like your resume. Well, it couldn't have been resume because I ain't had no credits at that point.
Yeah, but you jumped right over a beginner and you.
But I was
placed you
in the intermediate. So Net had told me about the class, and I think the week I got there, maybe I was like, I'm about to just dive in. I'm about to just get to it. Went up there, got in class, started taking classes with her. And then I was like, okay, I need to find an agent. And at the time I was working, so it was hard to like have meetings with agents. It took a minute. Like it wasn't like the next day by no means. Some months. But then I got to a point where I was like, okay, having meetings with agents. And then I think I signed up for LA Casting. I don't think I ever really got on Backstage.
I got you.
And I started finding little gigs on there to audition for short films.
No agent at this point.
No, I didn't get an agent until I got my first agent I felt like maybe 17.
Yeah.
So, yeah, years later.
So at this point, you on the grind and you booking things, obviously, right, on a consistent basis. Even if they weren't big things, you still were booking some things.
Yeah,
right?
It was some things that were coming along. A lot of it also was just like within the class. So it would be people who sometimes she would have like guest teachers if she would, because at the time she was working on How Did I Get Married.
Yeah.
So sometimes she would have guest teachers come in who may have been a director or a producer, or a lot of people were writing their own content and shooting their own stuff. So it was like things like that I started booking. And then what was it? The musical, High School Musical, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bruh, I booked this. I'm like 25 years old, right? And I'm playing a high school kid.
Well, look at you. Do you not realize you look 10 years younger than what you are? Yeah.
It was so irritating because all the little girls are in the corner like talking about their little boyfriends, this and that. So I'm finessing the mess out of it because every week they want to meet my parent, right? Yeah. And they're like, so did they drop you off? Did your parent, are they going to come in?
Wow.
Meanwhile, I'm a whole grown woman. So the girl's like,
with grown woman problems too. You ain't got time for none of that. I
don't have time for nothing. I'm in LA. I'm in high ass LA trying to figure out how I'm going to get this rent paid next month, okay? The girl was like, you just seem so mature for your age. Like, you never talk to us. You don't. Girl, you ever talk about this little boyfriend you're not going to even have by next school year? What? No, I'm not talking to y'all. Do you know how old I am?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. This conversation can't do nothing for
Yeah.
you. Right.
Yeah, so it was like I booked that, like a couple plays, you know, stuff like that. So it was just kind of coming along, like building it, and a lot of it also was just, which even now I feel like it's who you know in a sense, or like from your circle.
Okay, so let me ask you this: what year would you say it was out in LA when you started booking like significant paid gigs? Because 2017 is when you got your agent.
Yeah. I would say, well, so here's the thing. I started doing commercial work.
Commercial work.
That's
okay.
where I probably made more money in commercials than anything.
Wow. But you had did you have to have a commercial agent?
So I got an agent.
I got you.
I never thought about doing commercials. I was at the Image Awards, and I saw Laz Alonso. And at the time, I think this was right around the time Why Did I Get Married? Or wait, was he in Why Did I Get Married?
Yeah, no, he wasn't in.
He was in
Jump the Broom. I know that, but then it was something else before that.
It was before Jump the Broom. Whatever it was, it had kind of came out, and I remember seeing him, and I started talking to him or whatever, right? And I'm not big on like coming up to people or whatever, but it was like a small intimate situation, and I was just asking like, what advice would you have, or you know, if there's one thing you could tell me, like I'm an aspiring actress, and he was like, get into commercials, and I never thought about doing commercials, and he was like, because commercial work is gonna free you from having to work a regular 9 to 5, so then you have your time to yourself, to where you can invest in the craft, you can go on auditions because that's during the day, you can take meetings with agents, and it's good money where you can make this lump sum of money and be good, you know, for a minute. And I was like, dang, okay. So it was hard to get a theatrical agent because they want you to have credits. It's hard to get credits without having an agent.
Exactly.
Like real credits. You know what I mean? You can book some student films or some stuff like this, but they want TV credits. And it's like, how do I get in that room?
That's a huge conundrum. So you said,
like, it's a catch-22. It's like,
you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah.
That's also in my series, shameless plug, Keysha E. City. There's a scene about that, but that's how it was. But with commercial agents, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have any credits. They're not looking at you. You don't even list your commercial credits on a resume.
Yeah.
So when he told me that, I was like, okay, boom, I'm gonna start looking for a commercial agent. So I ended up auditioning. I found out that Daniel Hoff had open calls, and Daniel Hoff was like one of the top commercial agents in LA. So I went to the open call. I didn't book it the first time around. In fact, I think I wouldn't say terrible, but because commercials is very light. Like I wanted to be like this dramatic, like you know what I mean. It was a Taco Bell script they gave me. It's like, girl, ain't nobody want these tacos, and you over here crying. So I went back maybe like a month later and did another open call. I was like, they ain't even gonna let me back in here. And I ended up signing with him, who told me I needed to wax my mustache. Anyway.
Is that what he said to you?
Yes.
Wow.
We was meeting and he was like, oh, I like this. He was like, you need to get new pictures with like curly hair. Because he really put me up on game, like that's what books for women in commercials. Yeah. He's like, you know when you wash your hair in the shower every morning? And I was like, black girls, I don't wash my hair in the shower. No. He's like, okay. So he's going over everything. He's like, well, you know, you can get a wig, whatever. And he's like, it has to go.
What?
And I was like,
damn,
I don't want it. He's like, you like that? And I was like, I mean, I never thought about it. It's just a part of me. It's just, it's like God made me. What do you mean? He was like, and when I look at my old headshot, I cringe at that mustache.
He asked you if you like it.
He's like, you like that? Because I really was not trying to like, I don't want to wax it. He was like, you like having a mustache? I'm like, you right, my nigga. All right. Ever since then, every 2 weeks, I'm in there faithfully. Like, so, signed with him. First audition I went out on, I booked. It was an Enterprise rental commercial. And, excuse me, it was for the Olympics that year. Excuse me. And so
wait,
that
shout out to Laz Alonso, man. He was hot at that time, and he was approachable. He took the time out to give you some sound advice. Shout out to him. Got to recognize him. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely, because I never thought about doing commercials, and that's where I, to this day, still have made the bulk of my money. Damn. Because you do a commercial, and at the time I didn't know, right? So I'm just checking the mailbox. I was like, oh, they made a mistake. Let me go cash this. Because they don't know.
Let me hurry up and get this money.
They sent me a check yesterday.
What?
And then the next day, and then, you know what I mean? Like, as your commercial is running, you're constantly getting paid residuals. And I didn't know that. And so...
Is that something like when you're negotiating your contract for whatever commercial you're going to film with or film on or be a part of, do you negotiate the residual checks in there? Or is that something that's just kind of automatic?
No, I think, you know, once you're... probably a real celebrity. You know how like Sam Jackson does the Capital One commercials? That's probably a completely different type of contract. Mine is just a standard SAG, so you get like a standard amount to shoot it, because sometimes commercials won't run. So where you make your money is really in the residuals, not in the shoot. But they'll pay you to shoot it. They'll pay you for the fitting. And then every time it runs, you get paid. But that's it's like a set amount. You can even go to SAG's website and it'll show you like the amount per the time that it runs or whatever.
Oh, right. It's kind of, in that game, it's hard to get screwed because you are protected by all these
now, if
guilds
it's
and SAG and all that stuff.
Yeah, because I wasn't SAG for a long time. So I've done a lot of non-union commercials too, which is a flat rate. And in that, you do renegotiate if they want to renew it for a second year. Then I've had like my agent to renegotiate the rate or whatever.
Gotcha.
But yeah, the residuals is just, and you make more money obviously when it's SAG and residuals. So I say all that to say I started getting into commercial work, and I couldn't get an agent or wasn't able to secure an agent.
A theatrical agent.
Got the commercial agent. Theatrically, I just wasn't auditioning, which didn't even give me the opportunity to book anything. So I was just focusing on commercials, which is where I started making my money at, which is where I kind of like, cool, I don't have to work a 9 to 5 anymore, because I would do like 4 or 5 commercials a year. So then 2017, I think it was, when I first got a theatrical agent who I never booked anything through. Everything that I booked has been on my own. I think to this day, now that I think about it, everything that I booked has been on my own, honestly.
Damn. But again, that's the thing that kept you eating in LA this whole time. Because if you had to rely on the theatrical part.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. I couldn't even afford Skid Row. I had to rely on that. Because I haven't theatrically, I mean, I book things here and there, but nothing that's going to sustain me over time. You know what I mean? Like, even like the Tyler Perry joint is probably the most, that's probably the highest paid theatrical gig that I booked. And then again, it comes with residuals still, which I didn't know that either. I was like, these niggas in the accountant keep making mistakes. Okay, let me cash this check before they realize it.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, if you're principal, if you're in this production, in this film, like, you still get residuals for, I think it's quarterly.
Damn.
No, I feel like it's twice a year.
So when you went to LA, you didn't have any training, right?
No, absolutely not.
Do you think that?
Well, I went to Casablanca's.
Casablanca. Okay.
Don't ever go there. You can't in Canton, Michigan. Don't. Oh my God, they took my money.
So do you think there was? Do you think it would have helped more had you had training, or maybe it benefited you because you came out there more open and easier to teach? I guess. So I don't know. What were the pros and cons you think?
I think for most people it could work either way. I think having training is great. You know what I mean? You look at like Angela Bassett, you know what I mean? But then I think that, and I feel like sometimes, I feel like having training is obviously a plus. But I feel like sometimes people who are trained theatrically, when it comes to TV and film, sometimes they're just too thespianish.
I get you.
Right? And I feel like sometimes you can have a natural thing about yourself. I think for me, I was a little too analytical coming from the world that I came in or come from. I think that sometimes...
The engineering,
Yeah, I think that sometimes I can overthink it, or sometimes I am more in my head than I am in my feelings or my emotion. And so as this character, it's like, if I'm in the scene with you and whatever, you just cheated on me and I found that out, in my mind, the analytical side of me is like, oh no, he cheated. I shouldn't be crying over him because, but it's like the human side of it is, no, you would be crying, or you would be trying to, maybe you still want to work this thing out or whatever. So I feel like sometimes for me specifically, it was a little, because I wasn't trained theatrically, I felt like I was in my head too much.
I get you. So this funny story or whatever, when I first met Keysha, it was this guy by the name... Oh, what you laugh? Why you like? You can't. You don't want me to tell him when I first met you?
No.
Okay, I first met Keysha. She had let a young filmmaker, Randy Rand. Shout out to Randy. I think Jarrell. It was a few great actors there. I can't remember the one guy. Daniel. I can't remember his name, but it was like 3 really good actors there, including Randy Rand. It was his project, but you let him use your space to film.
Yeah.
And you wasn't even in the project.
Yeah.
Right. Which
that was Jarrell. Yeah.
You're right. Well, was that just you doing a favor for Jarrell? Man, that's dope. So that kind of told me everything I needed to know, because I'm like, I think I asked you, like, what do you do for a living? You're like, I'm out here acting. And I was like, wait, you let them just use your spot and you ain't in the project? That spoke volumes, right? And then there was a part in the short where they needed like you to actually be involved. And when I saw it, you had already told me you was from Detroit. And I saw you, I was like, man, she ain't got it. I was like, I'm being honest, because it seemed like you were overthinking it.
Yeah.
And that might have been around the time you had been out there for probably not that long at that point. And then the next time I saw you in something, the growth was incredible. And she was natural. You were authentic. It was like a complete 180 from what I had saw when we were doing a project in your house with Jarrell and Randy Rand. So then I was like, all right, I'm creating this project. Who would I get to play this part? You know, I had Javicia in it. Javicia was doing big things, just fresh off of a run doing Batwoman on the CW. Marcus was playing opposite of her, and I needed somebody who was gonna be that crazy best friend who just will say anything that's on her mind, but to keep it real, right? And I'm like, this is Keysha. So you let us use your house again.
He was really like, whose house can I use?
No. She was perfect for this role because, again, the girl next door, just honest, and I just knew you would bring it because you were really great at improvising. You know what I'm saying? And coming off the dome, and you know the project required a lot of that. I gave a lot of space for that. So anyway, we're doing this one scene, and I'm like, all right, I want y'all to improvise, and then at some point find y'all way to the script, right? And I didn't tell y'all what to talk about, right? But Keysha, if y'all don't know her, she's extremely conservative. Like she literally dates one person at a time every 10 years, though. It's like, it's like every 10 years. No, one person at a time, and then she'd go 10 years and say, I don't feel like dating anybody. And then 10 years later, okay, I'm going to date some other lucky, worthy man or whatever. But that's how she is. She's very much conservative, has a ton of respect for herself, moves with integrity. And I'm like, I don't know what they gonna improvise and what they gonna make up. I'm just, I don't know what they gonna talk about. This is Keysha, so I know she ain't gonna go too far. Soon as I said action, her and Javicia talking about all types of shit. They like, oh, girl, you ain't never been fucked in the ass. You ain't never had no threesome. Girl, I had a threesome. Shit, hold on, was you on top of the box? I'm like, what the hell? This is real acting. Because this is nothing like who Keysha is. And she made that project. I couldn't have made it like that without her. It's on YouTube. Shameless. I'm plugging my own shit. I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying? But it's on YouTube right now, 9 months after. Anyway, you killed that project. And at that point, I didn't even know that you even were thinking about going in the direction of being a comedian. Were you thinking about it at that point?
No.
So how the hell did that? You came out there to act. Yeah. You ended up doing commercial work to survive. And then all of a sudden, comedy comes up. How?
It was a dare.
What?
Yeah, it was a dare. We went to a comedy show. Donald George.
Donald George. Shout out to Donald George.
FML comedy show, and he would do an amateur night, I think once a month. And we were there just supporting him, and he mentioned that he had an amateur night coming up. And people have been kind of saying that and telling me, like, you should do comedy, you should do comedy. I'm like, what? I'm not funny, get out of here. And one of my friends dared me to do it. And that was the difference. Because, like, if you dare me to do something, like, if you dare me to do something where I won't get pregnant or die, it's like, why not? Right? I feel like you're trying to challenge me, you know?
Right.
So I was like, all right, whatever.
You said pregnant or die. Or go to jail.
What's the worst that can happen? I mean, jail is, I can do jail.
But for another podcast episode, we might have to circle back. We might have to circle back to that. But yeah, go ahead.
But pregnant or die is like, that's it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I accepted it and then forgot all about it. Went to Houston for my cousin's graduation. Donald hit me like, the show on Tuesday. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come support. He was like, support? Like, you own it? And I'm like, huh? He's like, remember? I was like, oh, I did say that. Okay, cool, whatever.
Oh, you wasn't even scared at this. You like.
And you know what the reason is? Because I never thought about being a comedian. So like when it's something that you're passionate about, something that you love doing, you have those nerves and those
care
jitters.
more.
You care. Yeah. I was like, if I never get on stage again, this
but you still standing up in front of people, and it's not like theater because at least you hiding behind somebody else's words. This show, like, damn,
yeah. But I think the main thing was just like, this isn't what I want to do. Like I just did not care in a sense, you know what I mean, of how I performed, if you will. Like it wasn't like, oh, I just have to do great. It was like, then I started thinking, because I'm like, I don't know the first thing about writing a joke. So but I like to go to comedy shows. So I started trying to think like, I thought about how do they transition from one joke to the, and I was telling the comedian, he was like, nigga, you jumped to transitions before you even have material. I was like, yeah, that's how my mind works, right? That's how I process things. And I just didn't know. I didn't know the first thing about writing a joke. And I was like, I'm just talking about my life. That's funny enough. Like, and yeah, I think I got back on Monday. The show was on Tuesday. And then I was like, It was 3 minutes. I was like, I need 10. He was like, Keysha, I'm not giving you 10 minutes. He was like, I know 3 minutes might not sound like a lot. He's like, 3 minutes is a lot.
Yeah.
He's like, and I'm not saying you won't do good. But nigga, if you don't do good, I was like 10. So we negotiated on 7. He's like, I can't do like that.
Wow.
So I got there and I was like, give me 9.
Damn.
And he was like, all right, and I'm gonna leave you up there for 9 minutes. He's like, and so if you bomb and nigga don't even look my way, I'm leaving you up there for 9 minutes.
Wow.
I think I did 9.5. I ran it like a little bit the first time, and it was, I almost want to say to this day that was probably still my best show.
What?
And yeah, like it was, but I still never thought about doing comedy. I was just like, okay.
Did you feel any butterflies or anything before you went up there? When they called your name, you wasn't feeling nothing leading up to the point you went on that stage? 9 minutes?
I don't know that I felt, I mean, I think I was just more so thinking again about my transitions, but it wasn't a nervousness. No, it was like, this is different. This is out the box, but it wasn't.
You different. Man, listen. God
it was
damn.
like,
9 minutes?
Yeah.
And you, first time doing comedy, you had the unmitigated gall. You had the
Cause I'm like,
the
I'm
nerve, the audacity to step into this arena and comedy.
I had all the caucasian.
But comedy, like stand-up comedy, in my opinion, I look on the outside in, that's to me, it seems like one of the most difficult art forms there is.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you didn't just say, oh, I'm going to go up, I'm going to try to play the piano for a couple of, no, you went on stage and performed jokes that you came up with in front of an audience of people that you did not know. No training prior to that. Nobody mentored you, anything like that. And then you get on stage and you killed it. You killed it.
I killed it, and in the most humble way. I never thought about doing comedy again.
Yeah.
Even though it was like, okay, this was fun. And then afterwards, shout out to Afion Crockett. Afion was there. I still tell him this.
You plugging celebrities up in this bad boy.
Because when I see him, I every time he be like, I still tell him this. Every time I see him, like,
because they got each other on speed dial. They talk.
No, I said when I see him. I didn't say when I call. Afterwards, he pulled me to the side. My homegirl had told me. She was like, yo, Afion's in here. Like, he was dying laughing at you, whatever. And I'm still just not thinking nothing of it. So I'm talking to people afterwards, and he kind of stood to the side for a minute. He came over and, introduced himself, and he was like, how long you been doing comedy? I was like, 10 minutes. And he was like, no, for real, how long you been doing comedy? I'm like, my nigga, them 9.5 you just saw, that's it. That's all. I just started. And he was like, yo, you got something. And he, like, encouraged me to keep going, because I never had intentions on doing it again.
Wait, okay. Before I'm gonna put you on spot right now. Do you remember one of your jokes?
Yes.
From can you just share it, with us? Unless you're using it while you on tour and stuff.
No, I don't think I do any of those jokes. Actually, the hood nigga joke I do want to bring back.
The hood nigga joke, that is. I think I saw that. That's when you actually performed in the hood here in Detroit. I might have saw that one.
On the west side.
On the west side. On the west side.
But there's no hoods on the west side.
So
I was like, lock my door, put the club on.
I think it was a fight was about to happen up in there because one of the comedians was that was your okay. Well, we ain't gonna say because I live in Detroit and I don't want him to know that you was well within your right to defend yourself, man. I'm just letting you know. So the joke. So do you remember a joke?
Yeah, I remember a joke.
Can you tell us?
Like, you want me to just do a joke right now?
I mean, you ain't got to do it like in, comedy, form, but you can just tell us what it is. Just tell us what it is.
It's just so weird to do a joke right now. You just do a joke? It's like, yeah.
You know, just tell us what one of the jokes was. I'll be impressed if you even remember one of the jokes.
I remember all of my jokes. I remember everything I did that night.
Okay.
I did a joke about Big Sean. Well, it wasn't about him necessarily, about his song. Mm-hmm. I did a joke about the hood niggas. jpeg.
And you got to bring that back. jpeg. Oh, shit. We got to talk about that, too. Man, listen, I was over Keysha's house one day, and she's like, yo, Dave, grab my phone off the nightstand. And I see some big buff nigga behind bars.
First of all, now he is lying in every way.
Keysha on jpeg. Why were you on jpeg?
I mean, I'm from Detroit, so I know a couple niggas that's locked up.
And it's kind of cool, though, because at least you provide... Well, my father, he was in prison for 17 years, and right before that, he did 5. But he told me that was the thing that kept him going, every day is because he had somebody out there to either write a letter to or to just talk to, because it's hard being in there alone. So again, shout out to you for giving them a reason.
But here's the thing. People think I just talk to random people in
jail.
That's not the case. These are people I know. Yeah, I'm not just like, I'm not just pen paling with anybody. Like, no.
Okay, so anyway, you kill it on stage. Affion Crockett tells you like, "Yo, man, you got something." At this point, you still probably being stubborn, and you like, "Nah, I'm doing the theatrical thing. That's what I came out here for." So, what made you get back on stage again?
So then there was another comedian there that night that was like, "Hey, you should come do my show on Wednesday." And at the time, I didn't have a theatrical agent. I wasn't auditioning theatrically, and I was like, "All right, fuck it. I got nothing else to do on Wednesday. Why not?" So I did that show.
At this point, it wasn't paid, right? It
wasn't paid.
Okay.
So I went and did that show, and that was at Flappers, I think.
Flappers,
so then the manager there saw me and was like, reached out about doing another show. And so it became a thing where I would do a show, book a show, do a show, book a show. And then like a month in, and it was really just a thing of like, I'm not doing anything else. I'm not auditioning theatrically. All right, whatever. And then probably like a month or so in, a month and a half, I was like, I really like this. And so I was like, okay. Then it got to a point where I was like, I love this. I was like, let me take this serious. And then I started, at the time I was really frustrated because I wasn't auditioning. And I was just like, I don't get it. And I kept trying to figure out like my how. Like, how do I get in? How do I break into the industry? How do I? And something hit me and God and spoke to me. And it was just like, this is it. Like, comedy is your way in because you're not getting in the rooms to audition for whatever reason. You're not, at the time I think I had an agent at that point, but it wasn't a really good agent. She was a really good commercial agent, and she had just started her theatrical side. So she wasn't really getting me indoors. But it was like, yo, you do comedy, you don't know who in this room. Anybody is in this room. You have an opportunity to be seen every night. And that's how I auditioned 8 times. That's how I got my first audition for Insecure. Which I did audition 8 times. And at the time, I was so frustrated, like, I don't get it. And then it was brought to my attention, like, yo, they keep bringing you back. They like you. It's not that. And then the casting director literally was like, I have to get you on this show. Like, we just got to figure out the right part. And I went in one time for this audition, this character. And normally I'm kind of nervous with theatrical stuff because I don't do it as much. So it's not in my back pocket. And this particular audition, I worked on it. I was confident in it. I was watching that Keke Palmer video. Remember that video that was like... Sorry to this man. Oh my God, to this day that video just, I'm in the waiting room like cracking up. Other people looking at me like, girl, we're trying to focus, right? And I'm just so confident in the work that I've done in this audition. I'm chilling and I go in the room and I kill it. And that's not something I normally say about theatrical auditions. Normally I leave every theatrical audition like, I don't know, I should have did this, I could have did that. And it's 2 casting directors and they're going back. He was like, damn. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he was like, that was so good. He was like, you don't look older. It's not believable that you'd be 34. And at the time, I think I was 37. It's like, what? So they're going back and forth. She's like, but I feel like we can make her look older. He was like, well, can I see you do your hair a little different, whatever. He's like, give it to me like you are a Harvard law student or a Harvard graduate. You graduated from law school from Harvard. So I do this scene over. It's so good. You just don't look old enough. Damn. The character's like 30. I don't even think it was 34. I think the character was 32 and I'm 37 at the time. Wow. So it kept being things like that. Like one character I went in for and it was like, the first character they auditioned me for was Daniel's older sister, which was a character in like the first 2 seasons. Daniel was like dark chocolate. I think in real life I'm probably a year or 2 older than him. The sister has a 14-year-old daughter. I was like, there's no way in the world I'm booking this part. But I'm going to do the audition so they can see me. And so from that, they continue to bring me back. But
because if they see you, there might be something else.
Yeah. And when I watched it, I was like, absolutely, the girl that they casted, she was dark complected. She looked older. Like she could be his sister and have a 14-year-old daughter. But it was like, from me doing comedy and the casting director seeing me do comedy is how I even got my foot in the door to get an audition. So even the Tyler Perry film, that came from me doing comedy. I was doing the Tom Joyner cruise and Tyler Perry was there because he got money to just fly out and meet us in the middle of the ocean and hop on a boat because Anita Baker's performing at night. Damn. Wow. And so that's how that came about. So like a lot of things that I have started to book came from me doing comedy and just people starting to know me from that. And so and let me just go off the subject. Well, it's kind of on the subject. They didn't book you for that because you look much younger than the age of the character, right? And I'm sure growing up, you always look
much younger than you were.
Yeah.
And that was frustrating, right?
Yeah.
At what point did it start becoming a compliment?
Because it was frustrating growing up. I would probably say
now.
I say maybe like around 35.
35. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably when it became a compliment. Yeah.
Got you. Then you started working with people, and mind you, I still know you, but I'm looking at you being associated and being like in post and doing skits and stuff and all of that. Like you associated with Tony Rock, Tony Baker, Kev on Stage, who is killing it right now. So like, how did all of those connections come about?
Through comedy. So I met Tony Rock. I wasn't doing stand-up at the time because he was one of the first people to tell me too, like, you should do comedy. Come do 3 minutes. Come do 3 minutes. And I'm like, I'm not doing 3 minutes. No, absolutely not. 9.
Okay. And at least 9. Yeah.
I just had a conversation with him a couple weeks ago about like, I need to get on the road, sir.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, through stand-up, and then Tony Baker. How did I first meet Tony? My friend Brennan. Brennan is a producer, and he produces all of the things that they shoot, transit pictures. And he was like, I want you to meet Tony, and I think I did Tony Baker and Friends. He used to do a, I think, monthly show at Flappers. I think he's bringing it back. And Brennan introduced me to him to do the show. And then nothing kind of became of it. You know me, I'm not big with keeping in touch with people. I don't do follow up like I should. But he ended up seeing me at the Laugh Factory.
She don't never call me back, y'all.
First of all, that's a lie. That is a lie. Where's my camera? That's a lie. But he ended up seeing me at the Laugh Factory like months later. I was like, yo, I gotta get you on my show. And I was like, okay, cool. I did a show. And then from there, we became cool. And then same thing with Kev on Stage. During the pandemic, he started doing Keep Your Distance comedy, the social distance comedy that he live streamed. And
brilliant,
they were looking for new. Yes, absolutely. They were looking for some more comedians. Like they started booking, off of who they knew first. And then Brennan mentioned me to Kev and showed him my stuff. And he was like, oh, I like her. All right, bring her in. So I did Keep Your Distance a couple times, actually. And then we started working from there. And then I did, I haven't seen a lot of black movies. So I was...
we going to talk about that. She ain't seen Lean on Me, y'all.
First of all, I have seen Lean on Me. I didn't see it at the time that it came out, but I saw it.
All right, I got you. Yeah, and you actually, we're going to get to the show that you
Color
have.
Purple,
which is,
Juice.
But you have a show. She has a show on Kev on Stage's, I believe it's his network, where she basically watches a black movie and then, gives funny commentary on it. So if y'all haven't seen it, definitely go check that out. So anyway, you working with these folks or whatever, and at some point, I can remember your followers. You went viral at some point for something. What was that video that sent you over the top like that?
I don't even think it was a specific video. I think it was when I did Keep Your Distance.
Keep Your Distance.
Well, okay. I did. Tony Baker had a Who Blinks First contest.
Oh, I remember that.
He had like this whole bracket set up. So it kind of, jumped up a little bit from
And you were moving from round to round in that, right?
Yeah, I ended up winning it. Yeah,
you won the whole thing? Right, okay.
Yeah, they was like, we going to put Keysha first. And I was like, y'all don't know.
Y'all don't know. I ain't got no emotions.
I have no soul. But, yeah, so it kind of like slowly started to jump up from there. And then I feel like it was when I did Keep Your Distance is when it started to go up. And then I remember Kev was like, so Keysha, he was like, you don't post content? Because I was totally against doing Instagram content. I was like, I don't want to be this Instagram person. I'm an actress. I'm a comedian. And but I understand the power of social media. And Kev was like, so you just post cute pictures? And I was like, damn,
so you
like
put it like that?
Right. It was that mustache moment. It was like, well, goddamn, okay. So, all right, well, let me start making some content. But, and that's how the whole show on his app came about, is that I posted a review. And I said I was going to start watching one black movie a week. And I posted a review of Poetic Justice. And it was like a really funny review. And it didn't go viral, but that was a very popular clip. And Kev hit me the next day and was like, yo, this is a show. Let's make it a show. And I was like, okay, cool. So we did that. And then it was a movie review plus things black people should know how to do.
Wow.
So that's how that came about. And then I feel like it just, started to climb from there. So,
Damn. Okay, so now, well, let me ask you this. What are some of the challenges? First off, shout out to all of the black comedians, all of the black men, the men in general who helped you along the way. Sometimes when you're in a male-dominated arena, some people think, or there's this fallacy that the male is actually keeping the female down, but in this case they were trying to help you and push you forward. But what are the challenges of being a woman in the world of comedy? You know, because you still the minority in that field, right?
I think one, you just always doubt it, which in the beginning I enjoyed. Like, okay, you can doubt me,
I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Yeah. And then it kind of gets draining over time, like but same thing being in the world of engineering, you know what I mean, as a black woman.
So you was used to it, like, okay, yeah.
I think a big challenge, and this is something I faced because one of my goals this year was to get out on the road, which I have been doing. Shout out to Ryan Davis, Clint Coley, Tony Baker. Because a lot of people don't take women on the road. You have some comedians who just don't think women are funny. You have some comedians who and I had somebody who broke it down for me a little bit more, like, oh, you have some comedians, they want to party and kick it when they go on the road. And so you being a woman, are you going to be his wingman to get bitches?
Oh, I got you.
Are you, you know, the person who's explaining it, he's like 6'4". He's like, I'm a comedian. But when I go out.
Because they're going to be out there feeling like they got to babysit you, or you might be judging them and all that. I get you. Yeah.
And he's like, when I open up, I look like I'm security, right? And so if they go into these clubs, especially clubs that's like in a hood, they ain't doing a walkthrough at a nice club. They don't want to be there with a girl who, they got to watch out for you. They want somebody that can possibly have their back. Or they get drunk. Can you drag them out the club? No. Or the club will give them...
Can you drag them out the club?
And shout out again to Ryan Davis. I know I'm just like a lot of shout outs. I'm not trying to name drop. But I really appreciate, like, Ryan Davis. I did Indianapolis with him.
No, do name drop, because I want him to post a clip of this. Ryan Davis, well, who else? Tony Baker.
So I did 5 shows, right? And the club gives him 2 hotel rooms. And so typically it's like him, the headliner, get a room, and then the 2 features will share a room, right? But I'm a woman, so I can't share a room with his feature, who's a dude. So that's another reason why I'm realizing, like, oh, people, because there's more male comedians on the road than there are females. So if you're going out, chances are you're going out with a dude, right? He has another dude. But Ryan was gracious enough he shared a room with the other feature and gave me the other room, right? A lot of people are not going to do that. So, and then sometimes they want to put you in not so nice hotels, and most women are not going for that. So I think that's like been a big challenge. There's a comedian, I ain't gonna put anybody's name out there, who actually opened up for him. Was like, yo, you killed it. And I was like, oh, can I get on the road? Like, nah.
Damn.
But some of the people they take on the road, somebody called him out. I was like, nigga, she funnier than him and him.
Damn.
Then I had another friend who used to open for this person and was like, told me how they opened for him. I was like, what happened? He's like, I was at a show and walked up and introduced myself. Was like, I'd like to open for you. He was like, you free next weekend? He was like, yeah. Take down my number, call me. So you ain't never even seen this man perform.
Damn.
And you gonna let him come out and open for you.
Damn.
But as a woman, that's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? So I think that that's a challenge. One of the biggest challenges that I'm facing now, because that's kind of where I'm at, of like, you know, wanting to get out on the road and trying
because
to
that's kind of how you get your name out there, how you make your money.
Yeah.
Right, I get you.
And you know, Tony Baker, again, shout out to Tony Baker, because not only because I was like, yo, I want to get on the road. And Tony was like, I'm going to get more black women out on the road. Let me take that back. I don't know if he specifically said black. I feel like he did, but women.
hey, that's good enough.
Women,
shout
for
out
sure.
to Tony Baker, man. Wow.
And the thing I love about Tony, man, is that, so I went out on the road with him, right? And I had the Netflix festival that week. We did Ontario in California, which is like an hour and a half away. So it was a Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. So I did Thursday, but Friday was the Netflix festival. So I was like, hey, I hate to do this. Is it cool? Because I feel like this is a good look. He's like, absolutely. Come do Thursday. Don't do Friday. Come do Saturday, right?
Damn, yeah.
But he hit me like, yo, you in a room, whatever. And he forgot that I told him about that. And I was like, oh, I'm coming back. He said, okay, cool. So a room would have been provided. After the show, you can sell merch, right? So a lot of comedians, what I'm learning is if this is a stage or wherever, their table is here. Your table is in that room back there, right?
Yeah.
Tony, not only does he set your merch up where his merch is, but he puts my merch is here. So if this is where people are coming out, they coming to my merch. They're going to hit my merch first.
Wow.
He's not that type, because he's like, I know they coming for me. I know they're going to get my stuff, right? But I want them to be able to hit y'all.
He wants you to eat and everybody else is with him.
And a lot of comedians aren't like that. And so that was a really great weekend.
Wow.
And so,
that was the same thing where Dave Chappelle got rushed or whatever, right? The Netflix is a joke. Was that?
That was
it was
the
same event,
festival.
same festival. I got
that was the festival. Yeah.
Damn, shout out to Keysha. Man, Keysha killing it. Okay, go ahead.
So that's probably a really big challenge. You know another challenge I've realized?
Oh, what is it?
Being a woman?
Do tell.
Oh, there's this thing called a period. And guess what? It doesn't matter if you're on it or not, okay? Niggas want to laugh. I had to show, oh my God. I was like, I can't. Oh my gosh. You better look like something. You better come looking like something. Don't look like what you going through. Nobody talks about that.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, what do you like? Do you try to like hide the fact that you up there in pain, or do you use it?
No, I came on stage and flat out said it.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, you use it. Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Damn.
Yes.
Damn. Has that coincidence happened pretty often?
It's happened about 3 times now, where I was like, where it's the first day of my cycle was very like, to get out of the bed it's a struggle to get in the shower. Let's not go on stage and perform.
Yeah, I'm not uncomfortable talking about this because I got a wife.
But that's what you got to do.
Yeah,
that's the job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been about 3 shows where it was like day 1 of like, I'm dying and I got to come here and do this.
Wow. So this past, I want to say 3 or 4 months has been like a really, really busy time for you, right? Well, you've been on tour like what, 3 times, I think?
I did maybe like 5, cities or like.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's say cities.
What?
I want cities and people. Shit, we about to flex all over the place
it's
on
not
here.
A flex,
no, I'm flexing for you. Yeah.
Indianapolis with Ryan Davis, and then I did Vegas, Salt Lake City, with Clint Coley, and Houston, New Orleans, and then I did Ontario with Tony, and then I went back and did. What did I just do? St. Louis. I have Chicago Friday. I'll be in Detroit for anybody that's here.
Oh yeah, she got me and my wife first row tickets. They is first row,
right? But yeah, so yeah, just being out on the road.
What date is the Detroit date?
July 8th.
All right, July 8th, y'all. Tickets might still be available.
Yeah. There's tickets available on the site. There's a link in my bio on Instagram if they care to go to my page.
Oh, of course they're gonna care to go to your page. Yeah. So and then the first 10 people, Keysha gonna pay for y'all. I'm just kidding. So listen, you sent me a script. I remember you was like, "Hey Dave, I want you to read my script," and I'm like, Keysha ain't writing no damn. Keysha barely had a
Dave
laptop.
was like, "This bullshit."
Keysha barely had it was good. Keysha barely had a laptop, right? When that laptop was just.
First of all, I love Dell. Y'all just be hopping on Apple's
Dell.
train because it's Apple. Dell got some bomb laptops that will kill any MacBook.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, you could throw it off a building and
But
it
go
won't even be broke. Yeah. So anyway, you said, "Hey, I wrote the script. I want you to read it." I'm like, man, she ain't gonna send this to him. Here go my email. Sure. And I didn't think I was gonna get it because you know how incredibly hard it is to write a script. I'm like, Keysha ain't got time. She doing comedy, all this stuff, whatever. You send it. I read it. I remember talking to Marcus. Marcus is our mutual friend or whatever. I'm talking to Marcus, man, and I'm like, man, if it's bad, what am I gonna do? And he was like, you got to tell her the truth. You got to tell her the truth. I said, God damn, I don't want to do this. I'm reading it. It's a page turner. It's like what, 8 episodes you wrote, I believe, right?
6.
6 episodes, but you're talking like 9 pages, 12.
Yeah.
It all totaled up to like 60, 70 pages, which is not an easy feat by any stretch of the imagination. Compelling, and it's actually your story. Like everything that you kind of talked about, there's some more surprises in there. So this whole conversation didn't spoil everything. But in terms of how you got into comedy, in terms of some of the struggles that you've encountered since being out in LA, the adversity that you had to overcome, we about to talk about this, right? Because being in LA and Detroit, you had all types of dudes. You know where I'm going. You ain't had no problem. Like, how many relationships were you in when you lived in Detroit? From 24, I'm sure your first relationship was probably, 8, 9 years old, something like that?
When I was 8?
Oh, shit. Is that just me? Okay, never mind. So I'm just saying, how many relationships had you been in Detroit?
3 relationships and then like 2 other people that I like seriously dated.
Well, that's a lot for a conservative girl like you. And then you get to LA. Mind you, the series talks about these struggles too.
Yeah.
You get to LA and literally you go like 10 years straight not even dating anybody. Yeah. How does that happen? Is it the city? Is it the location? Is it, they putting something in the water in LA? What's going on here? How did that happen?
It's a lot of things. It's something in the water. It's something in the tacos for sure. God, okay. Where do we start? It's hard, it's like, LA, they want to cancel you for anything. You can't even, can we have a conversation here? So, I mean, one is I don't know the percentage, don't Google me on it, right? But I feel like it's probably like 55%, 60% of the African-American male population in LA is homosexual.
I'm not laughing at
that
because
this is just
These are stats.
These are just stats,
facts.
right?
Yeah.
So it's like who you have to choose from is already slim pickings. Because when I got to LA, that was a shock for me. Again, I love all people. I don't care what you do, whatever. But you don't. At the time, you didn't really see it in Detroit. So when I got there, it was like, damn, every dude I see is with a dude, right? Yeah. So that was a thing. Then it's like,
and they don't even have to look like metrosexualish. You talking about dudes that you would be interested in if they lived in Detroit, and then you find out.
And I started learning how to kind of pick up on things or whatever. Mm-hmm. But so it was that. Then it's like everybody's out there chasing a dream. So you have a lot of dudes who feel like I'm not in a position to date.
So it's like the hookup culture, so to speak, out in LA is
it's
pretty
hookup
prominent.
Culture. It's a lot of dudes expect women to do things for them. Like they want the girl to pay. I had so many dudes that asked me to buy them a drink in the club, and I was like, I'm sorry, what?
A drink?
Yeah,
$13. Yeah.
So yeah, you have a lot of dudes who feel like, and I respect it. You know what I mean? As a man, you want to be able to provide or care for or do certain things, and you're like, well, I'm chasing this dream and I can't because LA is expensive, or I got 3 roommates. How can I date a girl? Or some dudes just have this tunnel vision thing where they think I can't be in a relationship because I got to just focus on work, versus the right woman will help you to excel, but whatever. Then you have this thing in LA. It's this culture. It's this thing where it's cool to date anything but a black woman.
Wow.
So I would get approached by men that weren't black, but I'm not interested in any man that's not black.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing wrong with other races. That's just your preference, right?
Is, I got to be with a black man.
Absolutely.
So that was a thing. It's just dating in LA is, and I realized it wasn't just me. Like I got beautiful friends, like smart, funny, outgoing. The whole nine, can cook. Like, and it's like, yo, ain't nobody got no nigga out here. What is going on? Damn. Like dating in LA is.
When I first around the time I first met you, or when we started getting cool, like Keysha, like if you try to give her a hug, she, it's got to be a church hug, got to be like 2 feet between you. She don't like, she don't want to be, touched affectionately, by anybody. She didn't really like kids at all. She like, I could never have no kid. They just a burden. You gotta wipe their nose and you gotta, clean up behind them. They shit everywhere. I don't want no kid. Like this was Keysha. She wasn't planning on getting married unless she could live in separate houses with her husband, and she didn't want any kids that she couldn't give back. Right. That was when I met you, and it's something different now, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about those things I just mentioned now, marriage and kids?
2 things really quick. I want to just jump
because the fellas want to know.
When you were talking about the scene I did with Jarrell, and he was like, oh, she can't do this. And then you see, that was a hard thing for me. That was one of the things blocking me because I'm not a touchy-feely person in real life. And the character, I think I was playing like his love interest. And it's like, whoa. Yeah. But that was the thing. Natasha, every class, she kept giving me scenes where I had to not necessarily be intimate in a sexual sense, but like have a scene where there was mother-daughter. I remember I had a scene with this girl. She was supposed to be my best friend, and she went to touch my face, and I like completely broke character. And Tasha was all into it. It was good. She was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, she touched me. And she was like, so anywho, that's how I kind of got to that. Mm-hmm. But my thought on that changed. One, as I just got older and my life got more settled, because part of not wanting kids was like, oh, I don't have time for kids. Like, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And then the main part of it was like, meeting somebody that I felt like, okay, I want to build a life with this person. So that was like a change in how I looked at things.
So you met somebody. I got you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, and this person sort of opened you up to new possibilities that you didn't even see coming. What was it about that person that did that?
It was just...
We talking 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years. What's funny is I saw this person a while ago and was interested, but they were in a relationship, and I don't think they ever saw me. And so then when they ended up meeting me and it came around, it was already this thing of like, I've been checking for this dude. And then it was during the pandemic, so we had a lot of time to talk without physically being around each other. So I really got to know him. And it was just easy. It was just a thing of like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. This is what it is. Just getting to know like who he is and how he interacts with me and like cares for me, and feeling safe and feeling
safe,
like
wow.
physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, like all of these things with him, where it was like I could spend the rest of my life with this person. I could trust this person. And he'd be a good father. He, you know, like I'm seeing like his relationship with God, like all of those, like he prays for me. You know what I mean? Like all of those things was like, yo, yeah.
Wow. Damn, I gotta get.
Dave, like I don't even know who she is.
Nah, listen, I don't know who you are, and it's one of them things where Bridget, you know, she you know, behind the cameras right now, she gonna be like, how come you don't make me feel like that? You know what I'm saying? So whoever you is out there, you better stop applying pressure
Bridget
to us
over
regular
there like,
men.
girl, that's nothing. Let me tell you how Dave make me feel.
No, listen, that's what's up. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Whew, child, 5 years from now.
Married, couple kids, touring, couple movies out. What's up?
Yes. Hopefully, yes. Married, kids. Hopefully, kids by the end of this week. Ooh, this clock is ticking. Okay. Woo. I got friends that are grandparents, and now I'm like, okay. Yeah, married, kids. Touring, I'm not really sure. I love comedy. I'm learning is very exhausting. I love it. I enjoy it. But when I think about what I want family-wise, doesn't mean you have to give up career whatsoever, but there is some adjustments that would probably need to be made in order to be the type of parent that I would want to being present. But my goal ultimately is to let comedy take me into my acting career. You know what I mean? You have a lot of comedians like Martin and Eddie Murphy. Like, when the last time he was touring and, you know, doing specials? So it's like I want to do TV and film from that. Definitely movies. I definitely want to do TV. I definitely want to do comedy. Hopefully, probably, maybe not full-time in LA.
Like you could probably have a spot out, you know, somewhere else, but you just come here for work, coming to LA for work.
Yeah, when I need to work. I'm kind of over LA. Yeah.
Makes sense because, like I said, you don't even go out clubbing or any of that like that. Sometimes you just be like, I ain't going nowhere, you know.
Yeah,
but you used to be more on the scene, but it's kind of getting old to you, that lifestyle. Yeah. So I feel you.
It's like after a while, and also I just see how much more how much work I can get done when I'm not. Like, that was the thing too. When I got out there, I was like, I jumped right in class, but then I also started partying and hanging out. And so it was like, okay, I'm not being productive in the way that I should be. And then as I'm just getting older, it's like, I don't want to be here.
Man, okay, so here's a question, right? And I'm gonna ask this because this is your first film project that you actually wrote, you starred in, you produced. Man, and you were killing it. You had was it a 6-day shoot, and you had to compress 60 pages worth of stuff into that 6 days. I mean, what were the biggest challenges in trying to pull that off?
Whew, I would say I was just exhausted. It was exciting, but I didn't realize, because I'm not a writer, I didn't realize I wrote 27 outfit changes for myself.
Damn. Yeah.
I didn't realize that I was in every scene except, I think, 2 or 3.
You ain't had no breaks.
So I had no breaks, while I was on set. And because we were on such a time, a crunch, it wasn't like you can relax. It was no chilling in a trailer. It was like, change your outfit, let's go. Next scene. And you're in every scene. Whereas other actors had a second to rest, and they had 2 scenes in between the next scene. So I say that was challenging. I think that, and then by me writing it, even I didn't direct it, but by me being a writer, the director is always kind of consulting with me, and at the same time I'm trying to focus on my lines and and all of those things coming up. So being so hands-on with the project, which again I loved, but that was kind of challenging. I think those are probably the biggest 2 challenges, I would say.
Man, Keys to the City, I can't wait for it to come out, and I can't wait for the world to see it. I'll tell you what, one of the aside from the fact that you're just insanely talented, you're somebody who really wants to be a better version today than you were yesterday. Like genuinely means that, because you don't call me. Every time you call me, I know, okay, well, Dave, I just kind of want your take on something, but it's not it's not for me to tell you what you want to hear. No. You want me to tell you or give you a perspective that you weren't thinking about. And you think about it seriously, because you do want to figure out what's needed in order for you to grow and be a better person. And that's something that I admire about you personally. The other thing is that I have a friend who stands over you pretty much. I have a couple of them, but one, and I remember talking to her about something. I'm like, yeah, my friend Keysha. She was like, Keysha who? I was like, you know how many Keyshas in the world? Keysha Edwards? Keysha E? And I'm like, yeah. She was like, you know her? I was like, yes. She was like, she got a project coming out? You know I'm an editor. Can you pitch me this? That? I was like, yeah, I can do that. But what she told me the other day when I told her you were going to be over here, and I'm sure she wanted to be here, but I knew we was doing it late. And she's filming her project right now, too, okay. So she's pretty busy. But she said, damn, man, I just feel like I know her. I said, that's it. That's her superpower, is that when you watch her content online, you feel like you already know her. And again, I'm thankful that you came over here late.
Sorry, I was late.
Well, I didn't even mention it was late, but I'm thankful you came over here late. You in town only for a few days to do this. Where can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me here or here.
Shit,
I
you can look
that,
there or there. Yeah. No, not that. They don't see you over there, but this one and that one.
You can find me mainly on Instagram. It's Keysha.E, ITSKEYSHA.E. That's usually where I post anything I have coming up, shows, the Keys to the City. Once that comes out, my online content is mainly all there.
Right. And I talked about earlier, like, oh, yeah, you better catch Keysha. She got a show in Detroit. And it's like, who knows when this is coming out? I'm sure she'll have another Detroit show in the future. But I want to thank you so much for coming by, man.
You're welcome, of course.
Keysha
Thank you
E.
for having me.
Oh, well, shit. Well, that's the least I could do since you are, what have you done for me lately? No, you showed up late. You don't return my calls.
First of all, David's a lie. David's a lie and a half right now. And that have showed up late is the truth. I'm a little late. But the rest of it is lies.
Keysha looks out for me, man, and just her conversations are so growth inducing. So for her to not have a lot of time and share a bit of her time with me, and she's all the way across the country, that means so much to me. So thank you.
Of course, that's what friends are for. Thank you for being a friend.
Thank
you for being a friend. Whoa.
Keysha E, y'all.
Okay.